guys? Welcome back to the Training Camp Podcast.
The Training Camp Podcast.
I got a new chair.
With a multitude of guests.
Can't say he's wrong, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Dolphins.
No, I really like.
Stupid games.
5-0 last week. That's right. 5-0. Dak Prescott.
You could lock up that 4 seed. Again, it's not blazing hot, 65 degrees. I'm going to do this for fun.
They threw to Michael Thomas.
The Heat. How? Chicago. Yes, you guys get an F.
And a little too much personality.
No. Last week. No, Ravens?
Oh, fuck. Give me that.
No way. There's no way. Hammering. Free. Really, do not talk about him.
This one's my fault.
Flex the game. Here we go.
Hi, what's going on, guys? Yeah, you guys probably saw like how long the episode is today. It's a shorter episode. I have a really busy week. I have to have this edited and scheduled to upload in an hour. So this is going to be a shorter episode than usual. So we're not going to be doing news of the week, mainly because there also wasn't that much news this week. So I didn't want to just cram in random stuff. But also, hey, kind of nice that there wasn't that much news of the week because wouldn't be able to cover it even if there was some. So we're just going to be doing the two big ones, which are NFL tiers and wallet winners. So let's hop into NFL tiers. If you don't know, I have all these NFL tiers, and every week I change them. Also, I have like I have a Madden video that I still have to edit and upload. Like, life's crazy, man. I didn't even upload my social graphics to the Instagram. If you're not following it, follow the Instagram. I didn't upload those last week, so I'm falling behind, man. I'm just a major disappointment. Anyways, so NFL tiers. We have no fallers this week. No one dropped this week. Mainly because it's week 3 and it's kind of too early to tell, and also there wasn't enough performances where I was warranting too many drops, because I think last week the drops that I did put in kind of just held for the week 3 games and heading into week 4. So we have what? We have 4 risers. Let's talk about the biggest riser, the Panthers. They jumped up 2 tiers, man. I'm high on the Panthers. I'm gonna toot my own horn here. Toot. I've always said that I think Sam Darnold was not the problem in New York, and I think New York was the issue with Sam Darnold. And now that he has, obviously it's going to be a little tough. I think they're going to kind of drop a little bit just because of the loss of McCaffrey. But I think Darnold's talent is starting to shine through. He finally has the weapons around him. He has better protection. He has a good defense. That Panthers defense is like actually a good defense. Now they do play Dallas this week, so this is going to be like a really good matchup for both teams' defenses, because like if the Panthers are able to dominate the Cowboys, and the Cowboys defense isn't as real as we thought it was, and vice versa for the Panthers. But no, the Panthers are showing me enough, man. They're first. Yep, they're first in the NFC South right now. Obviously, the Bucs had a big game last week, but not the best team in that division. But right now they're atop the NFC South, and if they can win this and go 4-0, like that's huge for them. So I really do like the way the Panthers are going. Also, they made that trade for the cornerback out of Jacksonville. They traded their tight end and a third, so they're high on him. He was a first-round cornerback as well, so he's got the talent there. They did lose J.C. Horn, which sucks, because I think if they had J.C. Horn, and I can't think of his name right now. His name is losing me. The corner that they just traded for. I think that secondary would be a top 5, or that defense would be a top 5 defense with that secondary. So yeah, I'm really excited to watch that game this weekend. I think that's gonna be definitely must-watch football, especially with the way the Cowboys have been performing lately. Next, the Bengals rose. Yes. A huge statement win over Pittsburgh, not just from an offensive standpoint, but also a defensive standpoint. I know the Steelers' offense struggled is an understatement, but I don't think it's just because of I don't think it's just because of their schemes. I do think the defense helped out with that a little bit too. Joe Burrow looks a lot better than we were expecting him to, especially with reports out of camp. Jamar Chase looks great, and Joe Mixon's doing his thing, and that defense is a very underrated defense as well. Not like top 10, but definitely top 15. They're not as bad as they used to be like last year in fantasy. For instance, if you were playing the Bengals, you started a player. It didn't matter what position they were. It didn't matter how good or bad they had been lately. Like, you started them. That's not the case this year. They're a great defense. Is this controversial? The Bengals are playing better football than the Ravens, in my opinion. The Ravens have obviously played harder opponents, but the Bengals have a fuller team. They have the weapons. The Ravens are just banged up. So Yeah, the Bengals and the Browns are top the AFC North right now, which is crazy to think about. Next, the Lions. Yeah, man. I mean, this is probably the best 0-3 team right now. I actually really do like what the Lions are doing. Jared Goff does not look as abysmal as I think everyone thought he was going to look in Detroit. I think Dan Campbell's a much better coach than I was expecting. I honestly thought this was just gonna be like another okay, he's a character and it's not really gonna work out. But like the team rallies behind him. He supports all of his players. He also obviously the introduction press conference he did where he's like, I'm gonna bite the kneecap, stuff like that. Like that kind of stuck with people, but ever since then his press conferences are pretty normal. He just goes to stand, talks, answers questions, says jokes around. He's just a good guy. He looks like a good presence to be around, and I think he could be a really good coach in the next couple of years. I think they have a good foundation. DeAndre Swift's killing it. TJ Hawkinson's a great tight end. He's top 5 in the league right now. Their defense is not that great, I will say that, but their O-line is good. So they have the pieces, man. And in every single game, this is the main reason. In every single game they've played, they've been in. They beat the Ravens last week. Let's be real. A 68-yard field goal does not happen that often. They played against Justin Tucker. So they led the Packers at halftime. They almost came back and beat the Niners. So yeah, this team is a really good 0-3 team somehow. And this team may only win 4 or 5 games, but that's a very good team. So no matter what the draft position is next year, which is probably gonna be top 5, top 10, they're gonna be set for the future. Especially with how the Packers are probably in their last year with Aaron Rodgers. And Kirk Cousins is getting older. I think the Bears and the Lions might be competing for this division in the future. I don't know. We'll see. And then the last riser, we have the Rams, who had a statement win over Tampa Bay. I picked Tampa Bay. I'm not going to lie. Not in Walt winners or anything, but just overall, it's I think Tampa Bay will probably win this game. But no, I mean, which makes sense. The Rams have the best secondary player in the league, and they have the best player in the league within Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Stafford is not just living up to the hype, but exceeding the hype that he kind of created when he got traded to LA. Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 1 right now in every single statistic, which is crazy. They still have even though he's the wide receiver 1, they still have Robert Woods. They still have Van Jefferson. Deshaun Jackson made a cameo in last week's game. Tyler Higbee's a very good target that they have as well. They have They won that game without Darrell Henderson, who they're going to be getting possibly back this week. Sonny Michel had a great what he was able to contribute was great. They have a great coach, probably leading coach of the year right now, in Sean McVay. This team is great. This team is not just meeting expectations, but they're exceeding them. And they're a really fun team to watch, and I think that they're 100%. If you can beat the team that just won the Super Bowl and beat them convincingly, you're probably a Super Bowl tier level team. So yeah, I think those were the biggest risers, and there weren't that many fallers, man. I mean, I think last week it was should I drop the Steelers, and I dropped them. But for sure they would have been dropped this week. There were some other teams I was thinking about, but like the Bucks, they lost. I'm not gonna drop them. The Chiefs, yeah, they're 1-2 right now. I'm not gonna drop them. Talent wise and schematic wise and coach wise, they're still one of the best 3 teams in the league. I'm not gonna drop them because they're 1-2. That's not record doesn't always mean everything. Like I was just saying with Detroit, they're 0-3, but they're probably the best 0-3 team right now. So yeah, I mean, there's certain teams that I was maybe I should drop, maybe I should rise, but for me, it wasn't warranted enough. I feel once weeks 7, 8, 9 come around, that's when there's going to be, weekly, there's going to be a lot of movers and shakers because you're going to be, really getting into the playoff picture, and teams that are okay, we're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, so we should just tank for draft picks and a good draft pick in the first round, stuff like that. So that's when we'll probably get the most movers and shakers, but right now, it's probably only going to be, 4 to 5 total movers, risers, and fallers between all of them, 5 total every single week up until then. Okay, 10 minutes in, not bad. Now let's hop into wallet winners. Last week I went 3-2. Somehow I'm 3-0 in upsets. Don't know how that's possible. I'm kind of 4-0 in upsets because I picked the Bengals to beat the Steelers last week, and I took the Bengals spread, and I said, if you want this to be an upset of the week, this is also an upset of the week. But my official upset of the week last week was Green Bay over San Francisco. So yeah, 3-0 in upsets. Let's go. And 6-6 on the spread, and then 9-6 overall. So far, not that bad. Overall, obviously, I'm above 500, but spread-wise, I'm at 500. So thank you to upsets of the week. This week, we have 2 underdogs well, two plus spreads, and then we have 2 minus spreads, and of course the episode of the week, which will be a plus spread. So, first one, Pittsburgh's going to Green Bay. Pittsburgh 6.5. Listen, this isn't because I'm a Steeler fan. Well, I mean, the reasoning probably helps because I'm a Steeler fan, so I know this, but like, Pittsburgh could win this game, and I don't understand it because they don't deserve it. They haven't showed us anything, but Pittsburgh loves to just drop these like easy win games. Like if you're looking at the schedule after the way they played Buffalo, you're like, oh, they're gonna go to Green Bay 3-0, but they're 1-2. The offense looked abysmal last week. Yeah, the defense was garbage. Yeah, but somehow everyone that's injured is coming back for this game somehow. And this is a game that everyone's going, oh yeah, the Packers are going to dominate the Steelers because it's in Lambeau and Ben looks bad and Najee Harris doesn't have more than 48 rushing yards in a game yet, and there's a lot of injuries. And it's like, yeah, that's a pretty good reasoning. But the Steelers just love confusing the shit out of people. So take the Steelers at least plus 6.5 here. Like I don't have them winning. You can see I have them losing 27-28. But like this is a game. If you really want to make money, what's the money line here? Because let's take a look here. Because if it's a good money line, you could probably make yourself some good money on this game just because like the Steelers make no sense. Plus 245. That's the same odds as the Patriots beating the Buccaneers. That's crazy. That is, aside from the Texans being the Bills, that's one of the best odds you can get this. They have almost the same, they almost have the same odds to beat the Packers that the Jets have to beat the Titans. That's crazy. So yeah, no, this is a game that Pittsburgh just loves to win for random ass reasons. Moving on, Vegas is going to Los Angeles. And I think the Chargers are going to win this game. The Chargers obviously had a huge win in Arrowhead last week against a much better offense and a much better, I know this is controversial, a much better defense that the Chiefs have. I still think the Raiders have a great defense, but I just think the Chiefs have a better one. But yeah, no, I mean, they beat an elite offense. That's the big thing. I don't think, and the Chargers have a great defense. That defense is working out. I mean, Brandon Staley is a defensive guy, even though he was a quarterback. He's a defensive coordinator. Like that's what he's been most recently, and so he's been able to scheme the Chargers defense the way he wants it to, and it's been working. This is a 2-1 team that's basically 3-0 in my eyes. And I know that the Raiders are 3-0, but I think the Raiders' record is the only reason why this spread is so low. Like I have the Chargers winning by almost 10, 33-24. So, I mean, Josh Jacobs still questionable. Derek Carr's having a tear, but Derek Carr is a very hot and cold quarterback as of the last couple of years. They don't really have the weapons from the wide receiver standpoint, and the Steelers did kind of show last week, like if you can stop Darren Waller for one half, then you can kind of keep the game within reach. If you're down, I don't think the Chargers will be down that much, if at all, in this game. So Chargers are going to win this. Justin Herbert's going to feast. Eckler's going to feast. Williams, Keenan. This is going to be a great Monday night game. Seattle's going to San Francisco, and Seattle goes in +3. This is another one. I technically picked Seattle to win this, so I kind of have 3 upsets this week. Yeah, I don't know. The way San Francisco looked last week was good, but I just think with Jimmy Garoppolo and a quarterback, man, you're kind of limited. Trey Lance is nice because if you throw him in, teams don't expect it because they're not game planning for that type of quarterback. But still question marks with running back position. Ayuk is back in, but you're like, is he the guy? Do they still not trust him yet? Kittle had a big game last week, but the San Francisco defense was good. But again, one of the big things for me, if you watched last year when it came to Walt Winners, is like divisional games are always like toss out the narratives, toss out the momentum, because divisional games are just always going to be different. So, and also Seattle, I mean, you have the better quarterback, you have the better running back, you have the better wide receivers. You don't have a better defense, but you have a better offensive line. So, like, in a shootout, I would take Seattle here. I don't have it being that high of a scoring game, but I do think that they win this game 30-27, even though it is in San Francisco. If they lose, it's probably because it's in San Francisco. So that being said, like the next time these two teams play in Seattle, I would take Seattle for that game. But yeah, I think Seattle wins this game. And then my last spread pick, Baltimore's -1 at Denver. And yeah, I'm kind of worried about Baltimore a little bit just because injuries and everything like that, but they are possibly getting Rashad Bateman, their first round wide receiver, back this week. They had an off week last week. The defense hasn't been performing as well as usual, and they're going against a Denver team that's 3-0. And again, kind of with the Raiders, I think that this would be like a -4 or 5 spread for Baltimore if Denver didn't have a 3-0 record attached to them. Playing in Denver as well is like a big thing just because the altitude that most teams aren't used to. But like again, I'll take Lamar over Teddy Bridgewater. Actually, that's basically the only offensive piece that I'll take for the Ravens. I'll take all the other. I'd probably take Mark Andrews over Noah Fant, but like other than that, I take the wide receivers and the running backs in Denver over the wide receivers and running backs in Baltimore. But the big thing for me is defense and defensive consistency, and I do like Baltimore's defense because they've been together longer. Denver had injuries last season, so they weren't able to mesh last year, so they're coming in still just kind of learning that scheme. And also I think Denver is just going to have growing pains, and Baltimore's a good team. It's a well-coached team. But I'm not saying I don't like Denver still. I mean, you saw them on the tier rankings. They're still pretty high up there, but I just think Baltimore's going to win this game, and -1 is enough for me when you also have the greatest kicker of all time. So Baltimore wins this 26-21. That's just a nice spread too, because like you just need a field goal win. You just need a game-winning field goal to either at least just push that, you know? All right, upset of the week. Basically my third upset of the week. Detroit goes to Chicago. Yep, I was praising this team in the NFL tiers, and with the way Chicago looked last week, granted against a really great defense that Cleveland has, I don't know, man, because Chicago has a great defense. Yeah, Khalil Mack did get hurt last week, and he was limited in practice, I believe, all week, so he's not going to be 100% in this game, but Chicago having great defense doesn't scare me, because who did the Lions play week 1 and almost came back against? The 49ers, a great defense. So the defensive matchup doesn't matter for me here, honestly. And yeah, I'm worried about Detroit's defense because it's injuries and they also have not performed well at all this season. But somehow, their offense has been able to just keep putting points on the board. Obviously not last week, they only put up 14. But like in the other 2 games, they were somehow able to put points up on the board. Jared Goff looks good. If you didn't want to hear my praises for them, just go back to NFL tiers. And I think this is a game where like Andy Dalton may start, doesn't perform well, they put back in Justin Fields because it's a bad Detroit defense. But yeah, I think, again, kind of similar like I was saying with the Seattle-San Francisco game. If this game was in Detroit, I think Detroit's favored to win by like -1. But since it's in Chicago, I think that's why Chicago's the favorite here. So I'll take Detroit. Sorry, Chip, but I'll take Detroit 28-20. I think what happens is probably just like a last-minute touchdown gets thrown. So it's like 21-20 with a minute left, and then a touchdown seals the game in the last couple of minutes of the quarter. So there we go. Let's see if I can go 4-0 on upsets. Knowing me, probably not, but I'd like to. Man, if I could go 5-0 for a week, that only happened like twice last year, and that felt great. Not just for my bank account, but because I was like, hey, I sometimes know what I'm talking about when it comes to sports. Busyness-wise, just before we log off, business-wise, like I should be back to pretty much normal next week. I also got like just swamped overall the past week, and so like I recorded that Madden video like Friday or Saturday, and it's just sitting on my computer waiting to be edited. I have to do this. My Photoshop is acting up, so it's like hard to design some of the graphics for like NFL tiers and stuff like that, so that's annoying. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support. Yeah, that's basically it. I don't really have that much to say. I'm in a hurry. I got to get this edited in about 40 minutes. So, thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.